brief about your association with books. The three of your favorite books.
Yeah. My association with books ante, like I just wanted to the first time you'll actually really read a book is probably in your school library. I went to HPS, and HPS primary lo we used to have this rule that you can only borrow a book if you bring like a plastic cover or not. A cover తీసుకొస్తే a book ఇస్తారు, లేకపోతే you're not allowed to rent out a book.
Right.
So I remember that used to be a really big deal. The day I forgot a cover was like a big deal. So because that was like the first thing that you could do for yourself, and nobody used to suggest books or whatever. It wasn't homework, it wasn't anything. So for me it was more about the freedom that I could read something but it was my choice. In school that was the main thing basically. I could read something that was my choice and it wasn't something that was enforced. That's why I'll talk about the first book, which I don't remember the name of. I don't remember the author of it. It was probably one of those really small books. It had something to do with a pet or something, I'm sure. But I was probably in the first or second grade. And by the end of that book, like as a kid, I remember tearing up. So I think it wasn't a great piece of literature basically, but it was like a book in which something sad happens in the end, some pet dies or something of that sort, or somebody leaves the house and they forget the pet there or something of that sort. It wasn't a great piece of literature, but that was the first time I understood that a piece of writing, unrelated to me, or I don't know the author, I don't know those people, I know it's fake, but a piece of writing can trigger emotions, which this writer could have written this 50 years ago, but over time, over space, I'm crying because of something that fellow thought of. So that was very profound to me when I was in this second class book. So I'll try to find that book at some point, and it probably won't have the same effect now, but so that was a book. The most defining series of books for me was, I think, Tintin. I don't know if it comes across as a book, okay, but it's probably a comic series. But for me, it's Tintin because some free period mein somebody had a book, I took it and read like one of the first Tintins. And I think like growing up, or like anybody who's kids and everything, it's a kick-ass series of books to read because it's very relevant. Like out of those 24 odd books of Tintin, he takes you through the drug mafia, he takes you to Tibet, he takes you through autocar, he takes you through the moon, he takes you everywhere. There's some political stuff, there's humor, there is conspiracy, there is spirituality, there is some sort of mysticism. There's like so much you can learn from those books. And at the end of the day, they don't take themselves too seriously. They go underwater in one submarine, and Lord of the Rings and all I won't mention because those are something I reread all the time. I love Tolkien's work.
But why not go ahead? Your
my own version, I love mythology. I love that genre, and Lord of the Rings is something I just reread like every time I have time, just for the hell of it, because I know the amount of detailing that is in it, which is set off like an entire cottage industry of mythological books that's happening right now. But more than Lord of the Rings, I feel Crime and Punishment is one more book which I was completely taken by surprise. I read Idiot a while back, and Idiot took me ages to finish. Like it took forever. Like the only book that took me longer to finish was Shantaram. I read that over a year, I think. Like literally, I aged with that book. But Idiot took me forever. I couldn't spell that guy's name forever. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then I thought, okay, this is a smaller book from Dostoevsky, so this is Crime and Punishment. It sounds like a gripping. I don't know why. I have no clue what it was. So I picked up the book one of those jobless months, I think. And I read the book almost at a stretch, like literally in under 48 hours, like 2 days. I just was reading in the room, whatever. And I finished Crime and Punishment, and I went into some sort of depression basically. That book was just so intense, like just the way, the catharsis of whatever, just the emotional journey of that guy. It's very rare that you can feel the emotions of somebody basically when you read a book, but you can't like you don't become that person. It's always sympathy. It's not like first hand, but like Crime and Punishment, it felt first hand. It felt like what, it always feels like what if you're in that situation, what if you're in that
So I deal with Crime and Punishment once again.
yeah. So more as an adult, I think like something about 4 or 5 years ago, the most as an adult, but like I'm just like, so far I think the book that's affected me the most would have to be Crime and Punishment. And I read one book of Dostoevsky before, which was Idiot. That book took forever to finish and all that. I didn't know, it's a great book, but it's just so big, and that style of writing, it took a while to finish. So, and then when I saw Crime and Punishment, it was much thinner, and I thought, okay, I like this guy's, I like what he does with his writing, so maybe this will be a little easier. So that's pretty much the reason I picked it up. I had no idea what this book was about. I had no clue about its plot or anything. So I started reading, and Crime and Punishment, I read it a stretch. I read it a stretch of, I think, under 2 days, just in the room. I was jobless, I think. So I read it in 2 days, and that book, that writing and that book and those characters are probably the most powerful, one of the most powerful in literature. I'm sure it is too big to say anything, but one of the most powerful, because it dragged me down to that psychological level of that protagonist, and like I didn't come out of the room for a while. I was just thinking, like, what if, like, you're in that situation, you probably would go into that kind of thing. So I think the 2 days I read the book, 2 days I was in that mood. I didn't come out, and I was just completely depressed, and I was just thinking about this life and futility and unfairness and, like, gray areas of like good and evil, and like, it's just it's definitely one of the most profound. I haven't read it after that, actually, because I think it definitely deserves a reread, because you'll see something new in it, but it's not a light read for sure, but I think it's probably one of the most powerful pieces of literature written. So what did I say? So one nameless book from a nameless author, which I understood what writing could do, then Tintin and Crime and Punishment.
Anything in recent times that you've read?
Anything recently? Phantoms in Your Brain was a book I read like a couple of years ago, and that was again like one very V.S. Ramchandran, the neurologist. So that was another book which I didn't know much about. Like, somebody recommended it to me, said, dude, I have to check it out. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, and then that book was probably one of the most spiritual books I've read. Like, it's about neuroscience. It's from a neuroscientist. It's essentially case studies and all of that. But for me, it was more than any autobiography of a yogi or like Sadhguru's, whatever, and more than any of that, V.S. Ramchandran's book was the most spiritual thing I read, where it just, lots of things clicked into place. Like, I was watching some of his videos after reading the book, and I just remember like getting so excited, like it was the middle of the night. I was so excited by some of the findings in the cases or whatever, and I was like, dude, but now it makes sense. I was like, and nobody's there at night, so I'm like, it's me and my dog figuring out the answers to life or something. I haven't read much. I reread a lot of stuff. I think between Yavade and this, I was rereading Lord of the Rings and lots of stuff.
So you think that writing, once things are imagined,
yeah.
Is imagination the greatest thing out of all this for you? Because like you said, Tintin, it was very imagined before there were spaceships were launched. J.R.R. Tolkien, his imagination.
For sure, yeah.
So what is your idea or thought about this particular concept of human imagination? I know it's a deep question.
Right. What's my idea about what's my opinion on human imagination? I feel that is, like, you know, imagination, like right nowadays we just think of it as creativity and like something that we come up with that is original. But I feel the source of anything new that you create is coming out of reality for the most part. Like sure, experiences and everything, but for the most part, whether it's artists, whether it's people who paint, whether it's people who make music, whether it's people who write, I feel they connect sometimes willingly, sometimes unwillingly from another consciousness, from another source. Like some of the paintings, some of the artists that you see, and you see what they do, like and like Salvador Dali, anybody, like you just see that they have, or Alex Garland, like you just see that they have an access to or a glimpse into an alternate sort of a world, like that could exist or existed or will exist or something, and that's where they find the need to tell that now, because this reality seems to be very finite. So that's what imagination is. I feel imagination is this unending effort by those people who catch a glimpse to try to show more people that there's more out there. Of course, it's also a business now, but the core of it is that.